Welcome to the Bondi Scrapper channel. Today we're going to, I guess, continue in the household appliances theme. I've got this amazing Victa Great Australian Lawnmower Company, garden equipment company, the Mulch Maker 1400, and a mate of mine gave this to me after I'd given him, I would think, about 20 years of sterling service. I can remember borrowing it off him several times. Yes, we have got the industry going in the background, and I think the neighbours are also renovating, so we will get noises. So we're going to pull it apart. I don't think we're going to get huge amounts out of it. This is steel, plastic. There's an electric motor down here. This isn't a petrol powered one, so we might get a few bits and pieces of wire and brass and stuff like that. The electric motor, I don't think I'm going to pull it apart today. Because without a vise it's a real pain in the neck to try and pull these things apart properly. So anyway, let's get to it. The washing's on the line as well, so that'll probably blow in our way every now and again, but let's give it a crack. Let's try pulling this bit off, see what happens. Nothing bolted in there, I'll do that later. Too boring for you to watch. Here I'm trying to remove the nut that holds the cutting blades onto the electric motor, and I'm trying to jam the shaft up to stop it from turning using that screwdriver. And not that I actually knew it, but in the back of my mind something was telling me that it's a right-handed thread. In other words, you've got to screw it clockwise to loosen it rather than the normal left-handed thread. So at this point I decided to give up on that nut. The thread was covered in dirt and grass, and I was using the wrong tool, obviously, and moved on to the Phillips head screws. So getting the screws out and flipping it over so I can remove that plastic cover and give it a bit of a shake, and off it comes pretty easy. And I'm having a bit of a look inside there, and that's a capacitor I've just picked up, and get the wires off the capacitor. The capacitor will be e-waste, and reaching inside to undo a few wires that are going to the on-off switch, etc, etc. I've cut the wires off the back, and now this is the on-off switch, and it's held in by 4 plastic tabs, and I've just got to get in and compress those tabs a bit to get it to pop out. And got the big screwdriver out, give it a belt, and I'm not overly worried, if my hands do get in the way and slip, but it's always a good idea to get them out of the road. That's a pretty blunt screwdriver, so it's not going to go in that far if it slips and impales me. That's the on-off switch. There'll be a little bit of brass in that. Pull that apart if you desire. Some there, some down there. We're plugged in, nice bit of brass there. So yep, we've got the on-off switch, and I'm just pulling out a few screws that are holding the switch onto the plastic fascia plate, and and you can see I'm levering it off there. And then I've got the side cutters. There's a couple of little clips there that are just holding the whole switch together, and getting in there with the screwdriver, and we're having another go with the side cutters, and then in with the screwdriver, and yep, popped it off. Then back onto the electric motor, and there's 3 screws holding that together. Have a bit of a go with the big screwdriver. That doesn't work, decide to use the right tool, and getting those undone. Pretty easy. Everything is really easy to undo on this thing, surprisingly, because I just want to avoid that big nut. But I can't put off the inevitable, and I've got to have another go at that big nut. So I get my knife out and I cut all the grassy stuff off it, and then I start going around it and chasing all the dirt out of the actual thread. And you can see that I eventually start getting my fingernail in there to try and work out which way the thread goes, and even then I'm not successful because I go the wrong way to start with. But now I've got the right tool, and in we come, and yeah, the big super cheap auto adjustable screwdriver, and look at that. Yep, we've got to turn it the wrong way. Simple as that. It wasn't actually that tight. And turn it over, and you've got to grip the shaft with the multi-grips because the fan was turning on the shaft, and I'm just spinning that nut around, but it's catching, so I'm just backing it off a bit to get the dirt, let the dirt fall out, and then back out again, remove it. And the rubber mallet out, give it a belt, and out it comes. So that again was reasonably easy, but what's actually happened is, I'm showing you a bit of heavy melt steel there, and that's a steel bush, so that's got a bit of weight to it. And turning it over, and the fan is the motor has actually come apart, and so I'm having a bit of a look at that to see how that comes apart. And well shot, very good. It's just fascinating seeing the end of it. And I'm giving it a belt with the hammer again, and the alloy housing has popped out of the bearing, and belting it again because, you know, when in doubt, belt it around, and the fan's popped off, so that was good. That worked. So pointing to that, saying, yeah, that's a bit of alloy, that's nice. And bit of a clean up, and that goes in the waste bin. And then I go, what do I do next? So I get the universal tool out and undo these screws, which I think I might do in fast motion. Back onto the motor, and we're having a bit of a look at it to see what's going on. There's a lot of dirt and stuff coming out of it because this thing's been mulching forever. Give it a belt with the rubber hammer, which is the only hammer I had up there. Clonk, out it comes, it moves. Another hit, comes apart. There's a bit of a spacer, I guess that is, or some type of dust cover, and I'm looking at that to see what's going on. There's a bearing still stuck in there, and so I'm having a look at the bearing, and I think, okay, I'll use the shaft out of the motor as a drift, and I'll get the rubber hammer, but of course that doesn't work because the rubber hammer really doesn't convey too much power, so that's a bit disappointing at the moment. And I don't think I was giving it full force because I didn't want to crack my pavers either. So I'm looking at it, what do I do here? I don't know. And then a bit more of a look, you know, and I'm pointing at the bearing and going, no, can't do that. And I finished up taking that down to the workshop, and I gave it 2 hits with a big hammer and a decent drift, and out it came. So that tool changed that from our irony aluminium into just straight aluminium cast alloy. And then I'm all happy because that's copper in that motor. So what did we save from landfill? And I do know it was going to go to landfill because if it hadn't been given to me, it just would have been put on the council cleanup, and that would have gone straight into the back of the truck with all the other stuff and straight out to the tip. No recycling there. So I spent an extra 10 minutes stripping things down, and we got that steel, so that was good. clean pressing steel, I guess you'd call it, with a little bit of heavy stuff there to go with my other heavy stuff. There's the there's that bit of tubing, and I'm going to try and make something out of that wheels and frame there. I'm not sure what. Something to go on the back of the bike, but then again the bike's not working, so you know, one thing at a time. There's the guts out of the electric motor. That part there is alloy, so I throw that in with irony aluminium, and generally it goes through, and if not, the guy goes, no, not, you know, you're a bit heavy on the iron, so throw it in with the other stuff. But that's okay, we can have those talks. There's that bit of alloy, and that one in behind there I've got to knock the bearing out of downstairs, use a better hammer than what I was using. Whole heap of nuts and bolts and rubbishy steel, a bit of brass, so that's okay, a little bit of insulated copper wire, that's okay, and this one here, which is our coppery part of the electric motor, and in order to get that out, I'm going to have to slice that down there and then pry that out of there, and I'm not set up for that at the moment. I'm getting quite a stockpile of electric motors that look just like this. So anyway, that's the size of it. We did well, and thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.